Hey guys, welcome back to another lesson. Today I'd like to show you different ways of voicing a very important progression in jazz called the 2-5-1. I'm not going to go into theory because I want to cover a lot of ground. I will mention a few things here and there, but the important thing is for you to see these voicings and sort of get to know different ways of voicing this progression. So without really further ado, let's just get started. And we're going to start by voicing this progression in the key of C major. And in this key, this is a D minor, going to a G major, going to a C major. The first voicing I'd like to show you is a very simple one. We're going to go from simple to advanced. So the first one is a very simple one where I take these triads that I played and I play inversions. So it's going to sound like this. And the point is that these inversions, what they do is they, instead of jumping around, which creates a very disjoint kind of sound, they have a more natural and smooth voice leading. Now again, I'm not going to go into the theory of how to construct inversions, but the point is, first of all, to expose you to these different possible voicings, and also to motivate you to go out and search for more information on many of these concepts. And on many of them I have videos here on this channel, so be sure to check the description down below for relevant links. The second voicing is called a drop 2 voicing, and basically what it does is it takes the triad and it takes this second middle voice here and drops it down an octave. And again, this triad, this G here, takes this G and drops it down an octave, and for this C, takes this G and drops it down an octave. So combined, it sounds like this, which gives the progression an open sound. And this sort of drop 2 voicing can be used to give your chord progressions kind of this spacious feel. So it's worth getting to know this concept as well, not just familiarizing yourself with this particular voicing. Okay. The next voicing, I'm going to go beyond triads. So we're going to play 7th chords. And when you play 7th chords, this progression becomes a D minor 7 to a G dominant 7, or just a G7, to a C major 7. And again, I'm going to play these 7 chords with inversions. So I'm going to play it as follows. Again, the inversions make the voice leading much more smooth, so it creates a much more pleasing sound to the ear. The next voicing I'm going to play is called a shell voicing. And in a shell voicing, what you do is basically each of these 7th chords is made out of the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th degrees of the D minor scale, or this one is made of the 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th degrees, and again 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th of the respective key they're built in. So a shell voicing retains only the 3rd and 7th degrees. So for a D minor, this would be an F and a C. For a G dominant 7, this would be a B and an F. And for a C major 7, this would be an E and a B. Now, of course, again, we don't want to jump around, so we're going to use inversions. And this basically yields 2 possible variations on this. You can have this. So D minor 7, G dominant 7, C major 7. Or you could have this. D minor 7, G dominant 7, C major 7. Now on their own, they don't sound very impressive, but they have a lot of advantages. First of all, by the way, if you play them with a bass note, so if I play the same thing but add a double bass in my left hand, it already sounds a lot fuller. First of all, they're very easy. They're very sort of non-assuming, so they're not very, very heavy on the listener's ears. So that's good if you're playing with a lot of other instruments and you don't want to take up a lot of the space, the frequency space in your band or arrangement. So you can sometimes just play these shell voicings, and also they're very easy to play in the left hand. And they have a very minimalistic sound, which is really kind of nice. Okay, the next voicing I'm going to play will add additional tensions, and these are degrees beyond the 7th, so it's often 9th, 11th, and 13th. And the voicing is going to be the following. So a D minor 9 to a G 13th chord to a C major 9. And I'll just point out that the 9th degree for the D minor is here, it's an E. Then for the G 13th chord, this here is the 13th, this is the 7th, 9th, and 3rd, and here's the 9th degree for the C major chord. Now, what's nice about these voicings is that you can play them you could actually, if you're comping yourself, or if you're soloing in your right hand, you can take the upper forms of these chords and use them in your left hand. So you could play this for the D minor 9, this for the G 13th chord, and this for the C major 9. And these are examples of what we call rootless chords or rootless voicings, because none of them actually contain the root of the chord, right? So this doesn't contain a D, even though I play it as a D minor 9. This doesn't contain the G, although it's meant to function as a G dominant 7th. And this doesn't contain C. But still, you have to always imagine having a bass player or someone that's in the band with you who's providing this additional harmonic support somewhere down below. And all you need to do is to focus on the higher degrees, the tensions, the more harmonically interesting notes. Okay, next voicing I'm going to show you is again using these tensions, these higher degrees, but it's going to be a cluster voicing. So a cluster voicing basically tries to move the notes of a chord around to create clusters of notes that are either a semitone or a tone apart. And really, I think this sounds best when played on an electric piano, actually. So I'm going to switch to an electric piano here. And I'm going to play, let's do a D minor 9. And here I'm going to play a G9 sus4. And then let's do actually let's play it like this. A C major 9 with an added 6 or an added 13th. So the clustering of the notes creates this very dense sound that I think is fairly popular in all of these neo-soul genres. I guess it's a particular color of the chords that you should be familiar with and able to play. Okay, let's do another voicing. We're going to go back to my piano. And the next voicing I'm going to play is an example of a polychord voicing. Poly means many, in this case two. Chord is, well, chord, and the idea is to build up chords by playing together two chords simultaneously. So in this particular case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this, this, and this. So this is a D minor 11th, but you can also think of this as a D minor in the left hand and a C major triad in the right hand. This here is a G 13th chord with a flat 9, but you can also think of this as a G dominant 7th in the left hand and an E major in the right hand. And finally, this here is a C major 9, but you can also think of this as a C major in the left hand and a G major in the right hand. And this way of thinking really opens up a lot of different ways to voice chords, because obviously the question you should be asking yourself now, if you've never seen this, is what sort of other combinations might be useful. And I'm going to let you explore this, but I will also leave you with another variation that uses polychords. Again, I'm going to use, let's do this D minor 11th chord, and then so D minor 11th, and here again I have a C dominant 7th in the left hand, I'm omitting the 5th, and a D flat triad in the right hand. Actually, this sounds a lot better. I prefer this one. And here I just have a C major 7th chord. So again, I urge you to look up videos on my channel about polychords or just experiment on your own. Next voicing I'm going to cover is an example of quartal voicing, and quartal voicings have fourths in them. So they have intervals that are a fourth apart, like say an F and a B flat, or a C and an F, and so on. So this voicing sounds like this. And in the left hand, I'm playing these. This is a G, a C, and an F. Each of the pairs of notes on this is a perfect fourth apart. In the right hand, I'm playing an A minor. So this together, put together, is a D minor, D minor 11th. This here is again a G. Well, really, you should think of this as a G 13th chord with a flat 9. This is in the left hand. I'm not really playing perfect fourths because this here is a tritone, so it's a shell voicing for the G dominant 7th chord. But still, it's almost a quartal voicing. And then the last voicing here has perfect fourth, and perfect fourth. Put together, this is a C major 9. Quartal chords have a very, very modern sound to them. And by the way, you can use just the left hand for comping. D minor, G, C major. And again, this sound is very, I think, associated with modern jazz players like McCoy Tyner and Chick Corea and Herbie Hancock. So again, a particular color that you should be familiar with. Let's do another quartal voicing. And this one sounds like this. This is even more quartal. It has more fourths in it. You see in the right hand I have perfect fourths. In the left hand I have perfect fourths. The only non-perfect fourth interval for the D minor is this thing here. The This thing is kind of an interesting voicing of a G dominant 7th chord. I'll leave it actually up to you if you want to do the theory and understand which chords I'm playing. And this is a C major 6/9 chord. Basically it's this chord, but in a different voicing. Alright, for the last voicing in this video, I'd like to suggest that you think perhaps on adding counterpoint to your voicing. So counterpoint means moving notes around, not just playing static chords, you know, D minor, G, C major, but rather try to build these little melodies or move the notes around as you play them. So this really is a D minor, and it morphs into a G major, and then this is already a C major 7. Now there's no real rule. I mean, it will depend, of course. Usually you'll have some sort of little melody that you want to play in your right hand. Maybe something like this. And then you'll work out just the counterpoint, particular melody, counter melody in your left hand. Maybe something like this. Doesn't sound too good, but then you'll try. Sounds a little better, and then which sounds good as well, and then you'll add the 7th chords or the 9th chords around this. And this is, I guess, the most open-ended suggestion or voicing that I have in this video. There's really a lot of ways in which you can add counterpoint, and we can talk about which counterpoint works, but of course it will be the topic for a different video. I just wanted to put this out there so you can be familiar with this idea, which I think adds a nice dimension to your playing. That's it. I think I've gone over quite a few options for you to experiment with and play around with. I hope you've learned something interesting, and I'll see you next time.